Hey guys. So, frankly, this as a person who is small and is a creator and wants to sort of build a community online, I've found that there's there's three that I've looked at over the past year while kind of like exploring other alternatives to Patreon, because it was never really awesome for me using it. I didn't like it as much as I would like to, but as far as the alternatives, I'll go over it in order. We'll start with OnlyFans, because I know that's kind of like the thumbnail and all that brought you here, and then we'll move on to the others from there. So, OnlyFans, for those who've lived under a rock for the last 2.5 years. Y'all hear about COVID? Did you hear that Joe Biden won the presidency and that Trump supporters tried to take over the government? Wow. Must be nice to live under a rock. Anywho, OnlyFans is in my personal opinion, actually pretty awesome. It's actually, like, from a content creator and community management perspective, it's pretty damn good. It offers multiple different types of content, including picture, video. You can record audio directly on the site. You can bring back old content that was put in your vault. Make quizzes. You can make different like deals and stuff. You can schedule out your content. You can ask for donations, or you can post content and have people buy it from you directly. It's honestly the most robust monetization platform that doesn't even have to have monetization. It could just be for community management and interacting with more dedicated followers. It's excellent. There are primarily 2, possibly 3. All 3 of them have this issue, but so we'll just focus on the 2. And that third is like there's really no discoverability outside of like promoting it in other places. So the first one is obviously it's OnlyFans. While I have more liberal and lefty views on the concept of sex work, many people do not. And to be fair, despite OnlyFans' best efforts to pull away from that type of content, and frankly promoting very, non-sexual stuff on their page, they have podcasts called Coffee and Cleavage. They have, Hustle with Ann, which, it's stock trading and finances, but that's her cover. Or you have, 2 comics, and they look like this, so it's rough, so that is obviously a big thing, the stigma of OnlyFans, and their inability to pull away from it, which, to be fair, they shouldn't, because sex workers did make the platform what it is. And despite that, if you have content and followers that are generally like indifferent to that stuff, I'd encourage you to go for it, because the tools and the options here and the integration of other things into the site, such as Spotify playlists, it's very, very good. And I haven't even talked about, paid per view messages and schedule. It's just unbelievably robust. And frankly, creators like creation platforms like Patreon absolutely should take a hint from it, from a technical perspective. The second is Buy Me a Coffee, which, I'll be frank with you, I'm only putting on here because it has a couple excellent fucking features. So, for one, you don't have to make an account. If you just want to support somebody and throw them a couple extra bucks because you like something they did, you can just put in your credit card, buy a multiple of however much their coffees cost, which are usually multiples of 5, and then call it a damn day. As a creator, that's huge, because that removes a huge barrier to entry for many people. The downside is that as far as like actual offers for the content you can make on the site, you don't even have access to video, and that's really unfortunate. OnlyFans hosts its own video content, which I respect. Buy Me a Coffee doesn't have any of that. Now it has recommendations for other things that you can do, like book a Zoom, like take advantage, all that's well and good, but you can do that with all of these as perks for being, a patron or a subscriber or whatever. And finally, we have Patreon. Now, Patreon is the granddaddy of frankly everything. And as good as Patreon is, it isn't always ideal. So one of the biggest problems I personally have with Patreon let me start with the good things. One, it's known, it's an industry standard, and if people say join my Patreon, you don't have to elaborate. You have the ability from your Patreon to, people are able to have tiers, and has Discord integration, which allows people to have like special things on your Discord. It has a lot of different types of integration now that I think about it, which is pretty cool nonetheless. And it also has sort of a Facebook-esque type of thing where you can like and interact with different things, comment, you can message directly with your followers. All of that, now these are all things that places like Buy Me a Coffee and OnlyFans have lifted from here. But here's where I have an issue, some of the issues I actually have with Patreon. As a payment processor, it's fine. But among other things, if you're not trying to post a text post, an image, a link, or run a poll, it can get a little expensive. Starting with audio. So you can upload all your audio yourself, as it were, no problem, that's fine. But you can only upload up to half a gig. And that can be very limiting for some people. That can honestly be a little rough, to be honest. Live streaming, well, you can use YouTube, it's free, and it's an unlisted link, but it's easy enough for somebody to sort of like use a bare minimum of tech knowledge to find it and send it out to people. You can use Crowdcast and pay a bunch of money, or you can use Vimeo, and that's still expensive. Speaking of Vimeo, there's only two ways for you to post a video. It's again to basically make a glorified hyperlink with an unlisted YouTube link, which is fine if you're doing public content or you're on a dime, but realistically, you're going to connect to Vimeo. And for those who don't know, Vimeo Premium. Vimeo Premium's expensive. If you are, if you're doing, if you're doing it, trying to, if you're putting out content all the time, like the Plus or even the Pro, like the Plus isn't even gonna work. It's $7 a month, so it's for 12 months. It's about $80. For some people, like even with me, that was really fucking a hard pill to swallow. But I did it so I could start posting exclusive videos to my patrons and stuff. But, Patreon if you want to use certain types of content on Patreon, you gotta pay the fuck up. And that's kind of a hard ask a little bit. I wouldn't blame people for not wanting to do it. As far as their payment processing goes, they have a lot of different options. They have options as far as like, you have to make an account to support someone on Patreon, and that's a little rough. You know what I mean? So it's like, say if I were to go to view my page, let's just grab this. Let's just say if I just go to a private window, patreon.com/HImedia. Cool. They have a pretty cool follow feature, which is never supported. You can join, click join, you have to sign up. You don't have to do that with something like, say, if I could close properly, Buy Me a Coffee. And also, Buy Me a Coffee also gives you the luxury of like having having memberships, so you can have people supporting you and stuff. It's unfortunately, as stressful as it might be, I think I have to stick with Patreon though, because I have people supporting me on there. Buy Me a Coffee doesn't do everything I need it to do, and OnlyFans, unfortunately, I think is being looked at by is under the crosshairs of fairly not nice people that are trying to kill the sex industry, and I don't want to get caught in the crosshairs of that. But I encourage you guys as creators to check each one out and see what works best for you based on what you're trying to publish. And thank you guys for watching. Should be live at some point in the evening every single day on Twitch, and I will see you guys next time. Psst, text me. Hey, thanks for watching. Please like or follow or sub. Or else. Thanks again.
Poggers.